I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
You must listen. What I'm about to tell you will change the course of history.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Matrix Study Hall. This is Miss Oracle. Thanks for liking and subscribing as you enter. And remember, all things here are allegedly. Okay? The Fair Use Act is in the description box. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the manipulation of truth. We're going to be focusing on the Manchurian Candidate. Okay, this film is actually a film that came out in the 60s, 70s or something, but I'm going to be focusing on the one that came out in I think it was 2004. Okay, it actually took me watching it several times to really get the gist of what was going on. I mean, it had an allure to it. However, it is so heavily laced with conspiracy. Yeah, it is one of those things that cause you to think deeply. So in the Manchurian Candidate, truth is obscured by a lot of propaganda, okay? And also it encompasses technological brainwashing. Okay, this is also in regard to a lot of misinformation and also the deep fake state. Now, when this is in alignment with the biblical principles of what is actually taking place, this is about a warning of deceit on the GOVT level, okay? Now let's go to 2 Corinthians 11 and 13. It says, "For such people are false apostles, deceitful workers, masquerading as apostles of Christ." All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and, I just want to welcome you all. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are in this world. Guten Morgen, habari za sabuhi, zao han, welu jing I jing, jambo, ni hayo, Ohio, assalamu alaikum, shalom. Wherever you're in this world, sending you love and light. And again, thanks for being a part of the Matrix Study Hall. So, with today's post-truth era, this is reflecting a biblical warning in the form of the Manchurian Candidate and what happens when we are dismissive of the things that are happening from a political standpoint. And as somebody that, I kind of stay away from politics because there's a lot of trickery involved. This film definitely shows that a lot of things that they're putting out as if it's just fiction or sci-fi, I have a sneaking suspicion that these things are actually happening. Okay. And we need to also understand the emphasis of needing to be discerning to distinguish between the truth and falsehood. So let's go a little bit into corporate control and greed that was depicted in this particular film. All right, there was a lot of significance influence over the politics in this film because if you paid attention, the first actor in the film, he had all these notes of his experiences of being I would say he was some type of a soldier, okay? But because he was so traumatized, they kind of put him in a position of, just discrediting his claims. Okay. And so that definitely stood out to me because a lot of people that are walking around here, we're thinking that, they're just out of their mind. They could look as if they're homeless. But a lot of times, if you take the time to really talk to some of these people are on another level intellectually. These people have seen some things that are going to be so far-fetched that people are going to think that they're just bonkers. And in fact, they're very in tune. Okay, a lot of things that are happening are much stranger than fiction. So the parallel of what is happening when it comes to unchecked capitalism, because the running theme of the Manchurian Candidate was about greed. It was also about a lot of control. And another thing I thought was very telling was that the actress, I can't remember the lady, but she's a very Meredith Streep. I think that her name is Meryl Streep. Yeah. Meryl Streep acted as the lieutenant's mom, and she has some type of unyielding control over him. And they also alluded to some type of weird incestuous type of relationship between them. And that was just really strange that they incorporated that into the theme when it came to somebody in a very high position, like a government official. But it was, although they kind of skirted on that, that could have been a part of the control dynamic she had over her son. It just was something that was really like weird to see being played out in a film. Okay. But it also showed like her level of greed, that she may not have been able to make the moves that a male could make. So because she may not have had a man to do those things, she allocated that level of treachery and control over her son. Wow. Okay. And so let's go to the biblical cautions against the pursuit of unchecked capitalism and wealth. Okay. And at the expense of righteousness. All right. And so let's go to First Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root to all kinds of evil. So this serves as a reminder. Although, yes, the Most High wants us to prosper, He wants us to be comfortable, but the dangers of prioritizing profit over your ethics, over morals, can lead you to complete destruction. And this film, the Manchurian Candidate, definitely portrays that. Furthermore, let's go to the loss of free will. Now, the actor in this film, they also had Denzel Washington here too. And he also began to kind of act in a way as this initial soldier acted, where, he was trying to recount all the things that were happening. But because he was a part of this brainwashing campaign with the soldiers, people did not believe him. Okay. This film represents the loss of autonomy. And it also draws comparisons to the current discussions about technology and how it is shaping the decision making of people. All right. The Bible champions us to have free will, as seen in Joshua's call to choose to serve the Lord, Joshua 24:15, which states, "Choose this day whom you will serve." Now, the erosion of free will. So, for instance, these soldiers, they were put in some type of program where they were chipped, where they were tampered with. Okay, this is a corrosion of their free will. And we also want to go into moral corruption and leadership. Now, the compromised political leaders in this film, The Manchurian Candidate, reflect fears of not only corruption, but a betrayal of public trust. Okay, we're supposed to trust these people as leaders of the free world, and they're doing all type of things. Okay, biblical teachings on leadership stress accountability and moral integrity, and that's also put out there in regard to Proverbs 29:2. So when the righteous thrive, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, people groan. Now, this biblical principle aligns with the public's demand for leaders who act in the interest of their citizens and not succumb to external manipulation, whether that is for profit, whether that is for control over other nations. Okay, but as we move on to the current events and the connections with misinformation and propaganda, fake news is something that is very widespread. And there is a manipulative component when it comes to the level of psyops, abbreviated for psychological operations, that are happening in mainstream media. There's a lot of things that they're doing to cover up certain things or to purport certain things, when it's all about control and it's all about getting people into an alignment with a fallen society. And also Proverbs 4:7 speaks of, the Bible call for us to seek wisdom, encourage us to have critical thinking in an era where people just believe what it is that's put before their eyes. And as we conclude this, I want to also share a little bit in regard to the technological advantages and also the problem with surveillance. Now, this was a common theme in the Manchurian Candidate. I highly recommend, if you're someone into sci-fi and also, the end times, biblical prophecies and things like that, it might be something that may pique your interest. But what happened in this particular film when it came to surveillance was that they were being heavily surveilled. They actually, as I mentioned, they had chips put into them and all these things. Okay. Um, And when they, for instance, these two actors in particular, when they started picking up on the fact that something was not right, to the average citizen that was so steeped into the matrix, they were not able to really convey that, there was other things going on, that they were being followed, they were being watched. To the outsiders, it was looking like they were insane, but they were very sane. They knew what the GOVT was up to. And let's also go to the film's underlying theme of manipulation, okay, and how this is reflected and why a lot of people have a distrust for the GOVT. Now, biblical teachings on peace and unity, and we're not going to read all through this, but Matthew 5 and 9 refers to it, as well as Ephesians 4 and 3. And this is a call for reconciliation in a world that is being turned upside down through control and greed for capitalism. Okay, so in the conclusion, the Manchurian Candidate is a cautionary tale. It's about the dangers of losing sight of not only morality, but free will, and the relevance of modern events that's happening. Okay, we have this mainstream society that is controlled with manipulation of information, but this is serving as a reminder to remain vigilant and to uphold ethical principles. So, from a biblical perspective, this film is underscoring the importance of not only truth and justice, but faith in navigating a world through challenges of people that are siding with the shadow government. Okay, so thanks for stopping by. All praises to the Most High. And again, thanks for those of you that have liked and subscribed. Stay awake. See you next time. Bye bye.